A pregnant woman and her unborn child were killed overnight in Lexington. We're following the investigation. We'll have the latest details for you straight ahead.
A Lexington man is charged with video voyeurism after police say he recorded people in the bathroom of a public library.
The rest of the day really doesn't look all that bad. Evening and night, that is a different story for some. We actually have the chance at some strong, potentially an isolated severe cell. We're going to get into that and the timing on it coming up.
This is WKYT News at noon.
Good afternoon from WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant here with Barbara Bailey. We're continuing to follow a tragic story this afternoon.
Police say a pregnant woman and her unborn baby were killed in an overnight shooting in Lexington. That shooting happened about 11 o'clock last night on Winburn Drive near Russell Cave Road. WKYT's Hillary Thornton has the latest details in our top story at noon. Hillary.
Well, folks at this apartment complex still very much in shock over what happened out here last night along Winburn Drive. Heartbroken to hear that the 22-year-old pregnant woman and her baby did not survive the shooting. Friends say Mariah Coleman was walking her dog last night when she was shot. Chris Warren now caring for that dog, replaying the phone call he got around 11 p.m.
It was from my little brother, and he was just, pretty frantic, just saying she's been shot, and I was just like, who, and trying to, get the details of what was happening.
Warren rushing to UK hospital to be with his brother, who was Coleman's boyfriend and father of the baby, who they had already named Jacoby. We are told Coleman was 8 months pregnant, but despite doctors' efforts, little Jacoby could not survive the shooting. Friends say a baby shower for the mom-to-be and her baby Jacoby was planned for this Saturday. Now, at this point, police have not released many details about the shooting or the possible shooter. Officers at this scene said it is possible that the shooting happened during an attempted robbery. In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Hillary, thank you. And police plan to release an update on the investigation later this afternoon.
Police have arrested a man who they say spied on people in a bathroom at a Lexington Public Library. In about an hour, Freddie Gillis is expected to answer to a judge for that. WKYT's Victor Puente has been digging into this case and has more details. Victor?
According to his arrest citation, Freddie Gillis was arrested near the intersection behind me. That's just around the corner from the public library, where he's accused of recording people in the bathroom without them knowing it. Gillis was arrested just after 9 last night near Snaffle Road and Bamboo Drive. His arrest citation says he used a camera phone for the purpose of observing, viewing, or videotaping sexual conduct or genitals without the person's consent. Lexington police tell us it happened at the Beaumont branch of the Lexington Public Library in the men's restroom. He's charged with 1 count of video voyeurism, but police tell me the investigation is ongoing and they aren't sure if there are other victims. They did say they were reviewing evidence that they recovered. A spokesperson for the library told me they aren't going to comment on the matter, preferring to let police release any information. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you again. Gillis will be arraigned on the charges later this afternoon.
We're looking at a better chance of rain today and some possible changes in the temperature coming soon. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live in our First Alert Weather Center now. An early look at the forecast. Micah.
Yeah, for some the rain will be here, for some they will not. And it especially comes during the evening and nighttime hours for those who actually do see the rain. So daylight hours, not seeing much go on. It looks pretty good the rest of the afternoon. All looks dry. Nobody's going to see rain during the day. We head off into the evening and night. Those temperatures will be right around 90 degrees as we finish off the day. And then we look for that rain to move on in. Now, where's the best opportunity? Well, right now, I would say central, north, and western zones. So the farther south you go, better likelihood of not seeing anything whatsoever. I would say south of I-64, you guys will not see rain today until maybe midnight tonight. Central zones, go I-64, that does include Lexington, and work your way off into the Bluegrass region. That area will be just before midnight, and the northern zones right across the 71 corridor, you're talking about the chance of rain about 7 to about 9 p.m. So it's much later on, and there will be a chance, but really the better opportunities come Friday and Saturday. I'm going to show you how that's going to affect your plans there for the weekend and all those events coming up in just a few minutes.
Micah, thank you. Crews spent hours cleaning up after a semi spilled fuel into the Elkhorn Creek this morning. The semi crashed into a bridge over the creek at the Scott-Woodford County line. Kentucky transportation officials say about 100 gallons of fuel went into the creek. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain is live with more on the cleanup efforts. Michelle?
Yeah, all lanes of I-64 westbound are now back open. When we first arrived on this scene, there's quite a backup here at the Scott County-Woodford County line, and that backup caused by a semi crash. Scott County officers tell us that crash happened around 7:30 this morning when the driver of the semi hit debris from what they believe was left behind from a previous crash. Now, the debris puncturing the diesel tank of the semi, officers aren't sure if the driver then lost her brakes, but the semi swerved, hitting a guardrail, finally stopping at the bridge over Elkhorn Creek. Now, the entire time, the semi leaked fuel. Georgetown Scott County Emergency Management says it leaked around 100 gallons of fuel, some of the fuel going down a storm drain and into the creek.
The bulk of it was caught. We did have a little bit of diesel fuel that probably went downstream. It was very minimum. It's going to be heavily diluted due to the amount of water that's in the creek. We have booms deployed for probably a mile down the creek, 3 or 4 different spots down the creek that we have booms that will try to contain and catch the oil as it continues to go down, or the diesel fuel.
Captain Palmer says there's very little environmental impact from this leak. He did add that they will be back tomorrow to investigate around 9 in the morning. Live at the Woodford-Scott County line, Michelle Chamberlain, WKYT.
Michelle, thank you. And the driver of the semi was not injured in the accident. Traffic on I-64 southbound was down to 1 lane for nearly 4 hours this morning. And southbound I-75 in Madison County is back open this midday. State police spent a couple of hours this morning investigating a deadly crash that happened last month. David McDowell died August 28th when his motorcycle and a car crashed just south of Richmond. The interstate reopened about 10:45 this morning.
New on WKYT News at noon, a judge has ruled that ousted Kentucky Retirement Systems board member Thomas Elliott can still take part in meetings, but the judge says he will not have a vote. Governor Matt Bevin issued an executive order earlier this year removing Elliott from the board. Elliott then sued, and a judge ordered that he be allowed to participate again. But Elliott later missed 2 meetings, so the governor filed a motion asking the judge to throw out his previous order, which is what the judge ruled on today. Elliott now says he plans to attend all future meetings and says he does take his role seriously.
Fort Campbell says 5 soldiers were injured in a training exercise when their helicopter crashed last night. The soldiers were doing a routine training exercise at the time. All 5 soldiers were taken to the hospital, but the Army has not released the nature of those injuries.
Also today, a man convicted of murdering his girlfriend will be sentenced in Lexington. Last month, a jury found Paris Charles guilty in the 2014 murder of Goldia Massey. You may recall that parts of her dismembered body washed up onto the shore along the Kentucky River in 2 different counties. The jury has recommended that Charles spend 36 years in prison. And a woman accused of killing her 3-year-old step-granddaughter is expected to make a plea deal this afternoon in Boyle County. In June of 2014, Shyla Rayleigh was charged with the murder of Alex Rayleigh. Police say Alex died from injuries to her stomach at the hospital.
A Pulaski County mother believes her son would still be alive today if the people he was with would have gotten him help after a drug overdose. Samantha Price says her son, Jerry Price, was driven around for hours following an overdose this summer, passing several hospitals. The Rockcastle County Sheriff is investigating the case and says Price's life could have been saved if he'd gotten medical attention in time. There's a Kentucky law meant to protect those who witness a drug overdose if they get help for the victim.
I think a lot of people still think that possibly, hey, it's a trap. They're going to catch me, and I'm going to, so I don't want a part of it.
Is it going to work in every situation? Of course not. No law works in every situation. It's another tool. It's another tool we've put out there to try to save lives.
Tonight at 6 on WKYT, WKYT investigates the Good Samaritan law. Is the law doing its job to save lives?
There's been an active shooter situation today at a school in West Texas. We'll have the latest details for you just ahead on WKYT, Kentucky's #1 midday news. Welcome back to WKYT News at noon. We're keeping a close track of an active shooter situation this midday at a school in West Texas.
It happened in the town of Alpine, 200 miles east of El Paso. CNN says at least one person has been shot, and police say they're looking for 2 shooters. Keep checking WKYT.com for updates. New at noon, Ryan Lochte has been banned from swimming until next June as part of the penalty for lying about what happened at a Brazilian gas station last month. He'll also forfeit his $100,000 bonus that went with his gold medal at the Olympics. The U.S. Olympic Committee and USA Swimming announced the penalties today. Lochte agreed to the ban that includes next year's World Championships. 3 other swimmers who were with Lochte all agreed to 4-month suspensions. The presidential candidates are back on the campaign trail after answering questions from veterans and active service members last night. Craig Boswell has more from the campaign.
Hillary Clinton came out swinging at Donald Trump the morning after the 2 presidential candidates attended a televised commander-in-chief forum in New York.
How totally unqualified he is to be president.
At the forum, she admitted it was a mistake to have a personal email account as Secretary of State, but she defended her handling of top-secret information.
I communicated about classified material on a wholly separate system.
Her comments came the same day House Democrats released a 2009 email exchange between Clinton and former Secretary of State Colin Powell. In it, Powell described how he had a personal computer hooked up to a private phone line to avoid going through State Department servers. Donald Trump appeared separately at the forum, where he said the U.S. military needs new leadership.
The generals have been reduced to rubble.
He went on to praise Russian President Vladimir Putin.
In that system, he's been a leader far more than our president has been a leader.
President Obama hit back during a press conference in Laos.
Just listen to what he says and follow up and ask questions about what appear to be either contradictory or uninformed or outright wacky ideas.
Libertarian presidential candidate Gary Johnson released a statement saying he does understand the conflict in Syria after this appearance on MSNBC's Morning Joe.
What would you do if you were elected about Aleppo?
About?
Aleppo.
And what is Aleppo?
You're kidding.
No.
Johnson said he thought it was an acronym and blanked. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
And Congress is still deadlocked over emergency funding in the fight against the Zika virus. In a dramatic turn of events yesterday, Florida Congressman David Jolly brought some bottled up mosquitoes right to the House floor. He was trying to condemn the lack of action in D.C. Aerial spraying for mosquitoes scheduled today over Miami Beach has been postponed until tomorrow because of public health concerns.
Well, just 1 week after SpaceX exploded, NASA is preparing for another launch today. They're launching a robotic asteroid hunter to chase the asteroid Bennu. The cost for the entire project is $1 billion. Scientists say the whole trip will take a couple of years. The launch is expected to take place at 7 o'clock tonight at Cape Canaveral.
Hope you'll keep it here on WKYT News. We're learning more now about the investigation of a body that was found in the back of a burning car in Lexington.
We'll have those new details for you coming up at 12:30 when the midday news at WKYT continues.
We are staying dry right now, but let me tell you this, once we get off into the evening and into the nighttime hours, possibility of a couple of rumbles of thunder are in there. I'll show you that, and also that sweeping cold front this weekend. That's coming up next.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Yeah, it's a really good looking look outside. And look, we're going to have that the rest of the day. There is no chance of rain during the daylight hours. If you do, it's a sprinkle. We'll give it a 5 to 10% chance, and that is it. It won't go any higher than that during the daylight hours. I just won't do it. 88 degrees there in Moorhead. We're going to finish off in the lower 90s for you guys in Moorhead, down 64. Frankfurt, same story for you guys. Lexington, something's wrong with the actual airport reading there, so we're actually sitting in the upper 80s here in Lexington, but not reading out at the airport. I want to show you the rest of the day. Daylight hours, no rain chance except for 5 to 10%. So go off toward the evening and nighttime hours. Really evening, I still don't see that good of a chance of rain. EKU football game going on with Pikeville. Big in-state competition going on there at Roy Kidd Stadium in Richmond. That kicks off later on this evening. You'll have no chance of rain then. By the end of the fourth quarter, as everybody's heading home, that's the only possibility you could have a stray shower or thunderstorm. But for the most part, we're going to stay dry. I don't see any problems. I would not worry about going to the game and getting wet. It's about a 90% chance of staying dry, 10% chance of actually seeing a stray shower. 40% chance northbound. That's where you're going to be seeing the best chance of rain before midnight. That could arrive around the 64 corridor by the time a lot of us are going home, but for the most part, before midnight. Hey, we got the trading days happening. That's today through Saturday in Williamsburg. Today's going to be dry. Friday looks mainly dry, and Saturday, yeah, you'll have a few thunderstorms by the afternoon. Then you got the poker run down at Lake Cumberland. Like I've been saying, still go. Just know you'll have to dodge a few thunderstorms, especially Saturday, as most of us will be wet there on Saturday with that sweeping cold front. Sunday looked great, though. Mid-70s.
All right.
You got to love it.
All right. Looking at that.
Those boats can outrun the rain
Yes,
at Lake
they can.
Cumberland, right?
They take off.
You got it.
Thanks, Micah.
Keep it here on WKYT. We're coming right back. A Central Kentucky team is hoping to shine at home.
Well, one Wildcat hopes to do just that in his own homecoming. Dave Baker has sports next.
And we'll check stocks as we head into afternoon trading. The major market indicators are down at midday.
Since yesterday, much has been made about the Cats calling a players-only meeting after just 1 week of play. But regardless of what happens on Saturday, one Wildcat will be especially ready to go in the swamp. UK receiver Juice Johnson lit up the Gators in Gainesville a couple of years ago. Johnson, then a freshman, caught 6 passes, 154 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's a native of Winter Garden, Florida, and everybody in his family wants to see him play.
I love going home, so that's a chance for me to get back home on a free trip. So, going back down there and, playing against just those guys and just everything, it's a great time. Actually, I'm letting my mom handle that. So she's back at home getting all those tickets and everything together. Yeah, she told me she totaled up already 66. So I still got to just get a couple on my part. But, yeah, I'm glad to see the family and everybody.
66. The Cats and the Gators Saturday afternoon at 3:30 right here on WKYT. Immediately following, join us for a special edition of WKYT Game Time. We'll have Mark Stoops' post-game press conference. That'll be live from the swamp. That's Saturday right here on WKYT. Well, after a tough opening trip to Purdue, EKU's back in action tonight, taking on Pikeville in the home opener. The Colonels spotted the Boilers 21 points before making a game of it until the fourth quarter. Mark Elder says there were plenty of positives despite the final score, and that's why his players will be more than ready tonight.
You got to wait a whole week to get that terrible taste out of your mouth. So we're excited that we have an opportunity to play Thursday because we want to get that taste out of our mouth. We're hungry to play another game and show what we're capable of on Thursday night.
Thursday night games, they're kind of tough, just practicing on Sundays. You really don't get a chance to kind of recover, but, it's business. We got to come out there and play no matter the circumstances.
You can take care of things, then you got an extra time on the back end for next week. Former EKU quarterback, one of the great ones, Al Holland Jr., leads his 2-0 Bears into Roy Kidd Stadium tonight. Mark Elder in search of his first win with the Colonels. You can watch the game if you can't make it down to Richmond on the OVC Digital Network beginning at 7. Tonight on the Big Blue Insider with Dick Gabriel, it's the Insiders Roundtable at the Heartland Shamrocks with former Wildcats Freddie Maggard, Jeremy Jarman, and Max Godby. Oh my gosh, will that be some good football talk. That's all at 6 on 630 WLAP. Much more on the Cats as they get ready for the Gators coming up throughout the day, guys. But for now, that's a look at sports on your Thursday.
All right, Buzz, thank you so much.
And there's more to come in our next half hour of WKYT News at noon.
We have an update for you about the body that was found in the back of a burning car earlier this week in Lexington.
I'm Phil Pendleton in Pulaski County at 12:30. Somerset police say their gyroplane was key in helping locate a suspect who had just escaped from officers.
Tomorrow night's Mega Millions jackpot is $111 million, and Saturday night's Powerball jackpot is $205 million.